Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Bay City Players as we present another original play. My name is Mike Wisniewski, and I am glad you have joined us for our 9th online performance. Last week, we brought you an original play by Michigan playwright T.E. Klunzinger. Tonight, we are thrilled to present a hysterical original comedy, The Boondawgle Estate, by Illinois playwright Peter McDonough. Bay City Players is excited to participate in the Make Art virtual campaign started by our friends at Midland Center for the Arts. Also, we would like to acknowledge our season sponsors, Chemical Bank, Independent Bank, Landau Packaging Systems, Skrupski Funeral Home and Cremation Services, Wildfire Credit Union, and Michigan Sugar. Our doors might be closed, but we are hopefully for not long, and we are dedicated to the mission of providing high-quality theatrical experiences for the entertainment, education, and enrichment for the community. The show must go on, but virtually. So a lot has happened over the last months. This COVID disease, floods individuals standing up for what is right, and theaters closed until it is safe to open again. So whatever your passion is, please consider making a contribution to any of those causes. And as always, donations to help Bay City Players are greatly appreciated. Now I would like to introduce our playwright and have him tell you a little bit about his play. Peter.
Hello. First of all, I'd like to say thank you to the Bay City Players for doing this reading. This is terrific. I'm very excited about it and looking forward to it. A little about the play. The play is set in the 1930s. Now, I have a particular fondness for the 1930s and 40s America. I like the clothes and the cars and the architecture and the plays and the films from that time, and especially the comedies. This play is sort of an homage to those comedies. It was kind of the era of high-waisted pants and fast talking. The dialogue was crisp, the pace was quick, and the verbal barbs are sharp. So at the time, many of the trained actors that were, at least on film and also I'm sure on stage, had this sort of middle Atlantic, New England-y dialect, and their deliveries were something I found very entertaining. So when I wrote The Boondawgle Estate, I wrote it with that rhythm and that cadence in mind. So the flow of the exchanges at times is almost, it borders on lyrical. It's a zany comedy with a warm family message. The first company that produced Boondawgle called it a farce with a heart, and I like that. Thank you.
Nice, thank you. So with our doors still closed, we are grateful to use this platform to connect with each other, so feel free to comment as the video goes on and let us know what you think. Our cast comes to you with little rehearsal time and without access to our theater has found props, costumes, and anything else they could use from their own home. If you're interested in participating in future programs such as this, please send us a message on our Facebook page or message myself, MJ Wisniewski, on Facebook, and I will add you to our list. Also, stay tuned for our next performance. More about that at the end of the show. Now, I would like to introduce our cast for tonight. So cast, when I call your name, give a wave to the audience and let them know your character's name and where you're from. Adam Gardner Northrup.
Hello, everybody. I will be playing Entrance Overhill tonight, and I'm coming to you from my upstairs bedroom in Midland.
Billy Anderson.
Hi, I'm playing Adam's twin brother, Exit Overhill. And I'm in my bedroom in Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Madeline Belaza. Hope you're unmute yourself.
Hi there, I'm from Midland, Michigan, and I'm playing Tess.
Tina Jacobs.
Hi, I am playing Victoria Overhill. I am the mother of Exit and Entrance, and I am from Midland.
Susie Polito.
Hi, I'm Susie Polito, and I'm playing Edna Snodgrass from Midland, Michigan.
Sarah Green.
Hi, I am from Kindy, Michigan, and I am playing Mabel, and I am in my fifth wheel in Caseville.
Marianne Tesson.
Hi, I'm Marianne Tesson, and I'm in Midland, Michigan.
Ryan Smith.
Hi, my name is Ryan Smith. I'll be playing Captain Agelford, and I'm in Midland, Michigan.
And I will be playing Mr. Formby this evening, and I'm coming from Bay City. Tonight, we also have Jacob Kaufman behind the scenes, making sure everything sounds and runs smoothly. And last but not least, our narrator tonight is our own playwright, Peter McDonough. Thank you, Peter. So thank you, everybody, for joining us tonight. Now sit back. Hopefully you have a drink and snack in hand and enjoy the Boondawgle Estate.
Act 1, Scene 1. The play is set in the spacious study of a large manor home belonging to the late Dr. Edward Boondawgle. The stage left wall has bookshelves, file cabinet, a swinging door that leads to an exam room. A cluttered desk sits downstage of the exam room. Among the disheveled items on the desktop is a candlestick telephone and a goldfish bowl. French doors lead to a small solarium directly upstage center. Upstage right is an opening to an entry hall with a front door, a staircase that leads to the second floor, and access to the rest of the main level. A large portrait of an older man in a dark suit hangs above a handsome fireplace which graces the stage right wall. A display of military medals sits atop the mantel in addition to a small, sparsely clad statue of a Greek goddess. Downstage, just off center, is a sitting area with sofa, armchair, end table, and coffee table. As the lights come up, the study is empty. Sunlight streams in from the solarium. The door to the house opens, and Enty and Tess enter and come directly into the study. Enty is wearing a suit with a black armband and looks a little worn. Tess is vibrant and energetic. She's wearing a light-colored blouse and dark slacks. Tess looks around the room and smiles.
Oh, Enty, it's just as you described it.
Not surprising. I haven't been here in 12 years and the place looks exactly the same.
Oh, I think it's lovely. Charming and masculine. Not unlike the nephew of the man who owns it.
Owned it. Let's not forget why we're here, darling.
Tess goes to the fireplace to look at the portrait and display of medals.
Is this him? Your uncle?
Yes, that's the late Dr. Edward Boondawgle.
He has kind eyes. Do all of these medals belong to him?
No, indeed they do. He was a surgeon in the army during the war. Rather heroic, as I understand it.
Very impressive. Will there be a viewing?
No, I'm afraid not. In the true physician's tradition, Edward donated his body to science, so it's simply a memorial tomorrow. Though nothing is ever simple when it comes to my family.
Tell me again, who will be there for the memorial?
Well, Mother, of course, and Aunt Gertie, Aunt Edna, and Aunt Mabel.
And your brother.
Of course, my dear brother.
And all of the women have lost their husbands?
Sadly, yes. Very soon this old place will be teeming with elderly widows who squabble with one another at the drop of a hat. Having said that, I really should prepare you, or rather, warn you.
Warn me about what?
The Boondawgle women. Where do I start? Gertrude. And Gertie is a force to be reckoned with. She wants to do everything her way and loves to stir things up.
I like a feisty, independent woman.
Just stay with the herd when Gertie's around. If you wander off on your own, you're a goner. Now, with Aunt Edna, it's a matter of money.
Is she wealthy?
No, but she always thought she should be. When Uncle Reggie died, he left her some money in a life insurance policy. So from that time on, she fancied herself a society woman.
That sounds harmless enough.
Wait until she starts fitting you for a housekeeper's apron. You'll see. Now, as for Aunt Mabel, suffice it to say I'm very fond of my sweet Aunt Mabel. It's the other one I could do without.
You have more than one Aunt Mabel?
2 at last count. 1 on the outside, 2 on the inside.
I don't follow.
Well, Mabel 1 is playful and rather innocent. After Uncle William died, Mabel 2 arrived. 2 is paranoid, suspicious of everyone, and very unpredictable. We never know when the little shrew will pop in.
That seems a rather harsh description.
Perhaps. Try not to turn your back on her, though.
Well, I'm sure I won't have any trouble getting along with your aunts. I'm very charming, you know.
Darling, it will take more than charm with the crowd.
What about your mother? She seems different from all of them.
You know, I've never really forgiven Mother for naming me Entrance and my brother Exit.
Yes, why ever did she do that?
Oh, she thought Entrance and Exit, in her words, were the most efficient combination of names for twin brothers Overhill. Quite frankly, I never liked being designated the on and off roads of the family. Oh, you think that's funny, do you?
Oh, yes, I do. Not the names, the story. 34 years is a long time to hold a grudge.
You don't know the Boondawgle clan.
What about Uncle Edward? Was he on good terms with everyone?
Edward? Oh, yes. He adored his sisters, and they loved him. He could be firm with their little skirmishes, when their skirmishes flared up, but they didn't seem to mind. He really was the glue that kept the whole henhouse from flying apart.
You don't say.
Oh, I do say. I say something else. I absolutely adore you, Mrs. Overhill.
He kisses her.
And I say that you do take my breath away, Mr. Overhill.
She kisses him.
And I say...
He checks his watch. His mood suddenly changes.
I have to call the office.
He crosses to the desk.
Now who's forgetting why we're here? Enty, can't you leave the office at the office for a few days?
I'm afraid not, darling. I'm square in the middle of a big deal. Everything in the house is an antique. Look at this old horn. No way to dial. Operator. Hello, operator. Yes. Can you connect me directly with a Manhattan exchange?
Tess goes back to the mantel and looks at the war medals. Enty lights a cigarette and studies the goldfish.
Enty, you told me that you didn't serve overseas, but you never said why.
Oh, you're a chunky little lunker, aren't you? No, operator, not you. I've no way of knowing how chunky you are. Well, can you put me through to a switchboard in Manhattan? Yes, I suppose I can wait. Did you say something, darling?
Why didn't you fight in the Great War?
Huh, they wouldn't take me. Flat feet.
What about your brother, Exit?
No, they didn't want him. Flat head.
Enty, you're incorrigible. I have never heard you say one kind thing about your brother. There must have been a point in your life when you liked each other. You're twins, after all.
Fraternal twins. The only thing we have in common is that we shared the same womb. I couldn't wait to get out, but Exit liked it in there so much he stayed in 8 hours longer. No, we look nothing alike, and we think nothing alike. Yes, operator, I'm still waiting for a Manhattan switchboard. Oh, this is Manhattan. Thank God, I was beginning to think we sold you back to the Indians. Never mind. I need you to ring up Klondike 86002. Yes, of course, I'll wait. I'm getting rather good at it.
Being different from one another doesn't mean you can't find a way to get along.
My brother is a card-carrying hypochondriac, a world-class underachiever, and the least dependable person I know.
Well, Exit will be here soon, so I expect you to play nice.
Enty suddenly remembers the nature of his call and tries to get Tess out of the room.
Darling, why don't you step out into the solarium and get some sun? This business chatter will only bore you.
I do so love solariums. Oh, come back with me, Enty.
Yes, of course. I'll be there soon.
Well, if you're not out there in 3 hours, I'm sending in the dogs.
Tess exits into the solarium. Enty starts looking through the desk drawers and pulls out an unbound manuscript.
My novel. I can't believe he kept this all these years. The Boondawgle Estate by Entrance Overhill. To Uncle Edward. If I ever become half the writer that you are a doctor, I shall doubly be ready to change the world. Hopefully, Enty. Hello. Hello, Lewis. Lewis, it's Entrance. I'm up in Whitfield, yes, in my late uncle's memorial. Thank you. I I'm the executor of his estates. No, I can't imagine there's very much. The house is likely the only thing of value, and it's 30 years out of style and on the way to nowhere. Hopefully, Enty. I said hopefully, no more than a day. The sooner the better.
He puts the manuscript back in the drawer. Just then, Tess shouts from the solarium.
Enty, there's a car coming up.
Listen, the closing is coming up, and you have to get Dr. Henderson to sign that contract. We can't knock down the house if they're still living in it.
Never mind, it's backed out now.
They can't back out now. The property is the key to this deal, and their 6 children are not our concern.
It's coming in again.
Well, have him come in again. Now listen here, Lewis. I need a signed contract by the end of business tomorrow, or legal proceedings will begin against Henderson, and you will be looking for another job.
Backing down again.
No backing down. Stand firm. I have to go. Get it done.
He hangs up. Tess comes back into the study.
Enty, someone keeps driving up and down the driveway.
That would be Aunt Gertie. Uncle Robert taught her how to drive, but not how to park.
Well, why not?
He died during the lesson. She refuses to admit that she can't do it, so she'll go up and down the driveway until she runs out of gas.
Enty exits the house and yells.
Aunt Gertie, apply the clutch, then the brake. Put it in neutral.
I know how to do it.
No, you don't.
Tess looks around, sees the exam room door, and goes through it. At that moment, Eggsy comes down the stairs and enters the study. He is also wearing a suit with a black armband. He looks around cautiously.
Hello? Is anyone here? Oh.
Eggsy looks outside, then rushes back into the study.
No, not Gertie. I am not ready to deal with Gertie.
Eggsy runs into the solarium, opens a window, and begins to climb out. The exam room door suddenly swings open, and Tess comes back into the study. This startles Eggsy, causing him to fall out the window. And he comes back into the study carrying luggage.
You're staying here in the main house, Aunt Gertie.
Gertrude enters. She is wearing a dress and driving goggles and a cap.
Oh. Well, where are the others staying?
Here in the main house as well.
Then I guess I'll stay in the guest house.
You can't. We are staying in the guest house.
And who is we?
And Aunt Gertie, I would like you to meet my new wife, Tess.
Your new wife? How many wives do you have?
Just one. I've never been married before.
Then, dear boy, introduce the young woman as your wife, not your new wife. Well, go ahead. Introduce her properly.
Aunt Gertrude, I would like you to meet my wife, Tess.
Hello.
Tess. Is that short for something?
Well, yes, Contessa.
Why do you go by Tess and not Contessa?
Because I never much cared for that name.
What a shame. Contessa.
I'm terribly sorry for your loss.
Loss? What did I lose?
Your brother, Edward, of course?
Oh, Edward's not lost, Contessa. He's dead.
Well, I know, and I'm very sorry about that.
Why, did you murder him?
Murder him?
Well, did you?
Aunt Gertie, please. Tess is simply trying to extend her sympathies on the passing of Uncle Edward.
I don't want her sympathies. I want the guest house.
Well, Enty, I suppose we could...
You suppose nothing, darling. Aunt Gertie, Tess and I are staying in the guest house, and that is final.
Oh, really?
Yes, really.
Gertrude glares at him and then looks down at his black armband, which reminds her of Edward.
Well, very well, Edward.
I'm Enty, Aunt Gertie.
And who else would you be? Well, if I am forced to sleep in the drafty old place, I'll take the first room on the right at the top of the stairs.
Edna suddenly rushes into the house, very flustered, and shoves her purse into Tess's hands. She has attempted to dress like a society woman, but failed miserably.
Appalling. Simply appalling. Never, never, never in my days.
Oh, Lord, Miss Vanderbilt just walked in and she's already at it.
And Edna, are you all right?
Oh, no, Entrance. Of course I'm not all right. Look, I'm perspiring. I never perspire.
What's wrong?
I just fired my chauffeur because he refused to go bring my bags up to the house. Can you imagine? He took them out of the trunk and just left them in the drive.
That's because he's not your chauffeur, Aunt Edna. He's a cab driver. He doesn't have to bring your bags up to the house. Did you pay him?
I most certainly did not. I fired him. And I do not believe in severance.
Oh, Aunt Edna.
He exits the house.
That's it, Entrance. That's the spirit. Give him a little piece of your mind, too.
Edna walks up to Tess and turns her back on her.
Coat.
Tess does not understand what Edna wants her to do.
Coat.
Oh, Tess removes Edna's coat and holds it.
Oh, hell's bells, you snotty old fool. He's not going out to yell at him. He's going out to pay him.
Well, if it isn't Gertrude, the charm school dropout. Well, I should have known you were here when I saw that old rattle trap in the drive. I could smell the burning oil straight through the windows of my Bentley.
Oh, listen, you highbrow headache. You didn't come in the Bentley. It's a taxi cab.
Gertrude, your persistent jealousy is very unbecoming, but not at all surprising.
Oh, jealous. Why would I be jealous? You stuck up little...
Enty comes back in with 2 suitcases.
There we are, all settled up.
Entrance, you should not have given him 1 red cent.
Never mind that, Aunt Edna. I want to introduce you to someone.
This woman needs no introduction. Bring my bags upstairs and be quick about it. I should like to take a nap before tea. And stand up straight, for heaven's sake. Never introduce important guests to the help. Dear boy. Why are you still standing there? And what are you wearing? Trousers? Go and put a dress and apron on immediately.
2 women stare at each other.
Why isn't she going? Do you understand English? Does she understand English?
Aunt Edna, this is my new wife, Tess.
Your new wife? How many wives have you had?
Hello, Aunt Edna.
Child, you shall address me as Mrs. Snodgrass.
Edna pulls
Entrance.
Enty aside.
Entrance, your mother never told me that you married a domestic. This is very unsettling. How long has this woman kept house for your uncle?
She doesn't keep house for Uncle Edward.
Obviously. The place looks dreadful. Fire her immediately.
Aunt Edna, Tess came with me from New York, and she is here for the same reason we all are.
Edna glances down at the armband and tears up. She gently touches it.
I see. Very well, Edward.
An entrance, Aunt Edna.
Of course, dear boy. Well, Entrance. Would you be so kind as to bring my bag upstairs to the first room on the right?
Not so fast, Society Sue. That room is mine.
No, I think not.
That's your problem. You never think.
I always stay in that room when I come here. And I must have that bed for my lumbago.
And I'm not hiking to the head in the middle of the night, so it's mine.
I refuse to hear a word you say.
Snobby, deaf, and dumb is a terrible way to live, Edna.
Aunt Gertie, Aunt Edna, please. There are plenty of...
Mabel appears in the door carrying 1 suitcase.
Ring, 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 ring. Aunt Mabel is here. Get ready to sing. Hello, all. I'm here.
Oh, good God, it's little Mary Sunshine. She is only one person on earth who can be chipper at a time like this.
So I see Grumpy Gertie has already arrived. Hide the children lest they be put in a pie.
Yes, Mad Mabel, I've arrived, but I'm surprised you made it at all. Tell me, what number am I addressing today?
Don't start with the numbers, Gertrude Iris. And don't you dare call me mad.
What? You'll unhinge your jaw and swallow me up? Oh, I'm not afraid of you, lady.
Oh, wonderful. Now we have Punch and Judy to contend with.
Oh, stay out of this.
Stay out of this, Edna.
Go find someone else to fire.
Hello, Aunt Mabel.
Entrance Overhill. Let me look at you. Why, you are more handsome than the last time I saw you.
She hugs and kisses him.
Thank you. You look quite lovely yourself. That's a wonderful color on you.
Oh, Enty, you're going to make your aunt blush. And who is this pretty young thing?
Oh, yes. And Mabel, I would like you to meet.
Why, you must be Enty's new wife, Tess.
Yes, that's right. It's a pleasure to meet you, Aunt Mabel. May I call you Aunt Mabel?
You most certainly may, my dear. You are as lovely as Victoria said you were.
Thank you.
Now, while you're here, you must tell me all about how you and Enty met. About the wedding and the honeymoon and all
And he
that.
looks outside.
Aunt Mabel, did you pay the cabbie?
Cabby? Why, no. I didn't take a cab. A nice gentleman offered me a ride when I got off the train.
That nice gentleman is a cab driver. Why is that such a difficult concept for this family?
He exits the house. Mabel starts to get a bit frantic toward Tess.
Well, you must come up to my room and we'll talk. It's the first room at the top of the stairs.
No, it's not.
Aunt Mabel, that room seems to be spoken for.
Yes.
But that's always my room when I come here. I like that room. The breeze is lovely and just what do you know about it?
Yes, and what do you know about it? Are you the desk clerk?
Why, no.
Are you up to something, Contessa?
Oh, I'm not up to anything.
It's the trousers.
Mabel glares at Tess.
Where's my other bag?
I didn't see another bag.
So the plot thickens.
I came here with 2 bags and now there's only 1.
Perhaps you left one in the cab?
Don't you listen? I didn't take a cab. I just said a strange man offered me a ride when I got off the train, and then he followed me all the way here.
Was he following you from the front seat?
As a matter of fact, he was. What difference does it make?
That was your cab driver, Mabel.
I did not take a cab. Why doesn't anyone listen? I came here with 2 bags, and now there is only 1.
Here we go again.
We hit the daily double in the first 5 minutes.
Who are you and what are you doing here?
Tess is stunned by the ferocity of Mabel, too.
That's Contessa, Entrance's new wife. You met her 2 minutes ago, Mabel.
And he comes back in.
Gertrude, I have never met anyone named Contessa in my life. You're Enty's new wife, huh? Enty, how many wives do you have?
But I'm Tess, remember?
Oh, Tess. What a sweet name. Where's my other bag?
Why did you bump off Edward?
And how dare you wear trousers?
Tess is in shock and unable to speak. Enty steps between them.
Good Lord, Aunt Gertie, Tess did not bump off Edward. She never even met the man. And Edna, women's trousers are all the rage in New York these days. And Mabel, Tess is my only wife and she did not take your bag.
I say she stole it.
I say she murdered him.
And I say never trust a maid in man's pants.
Enough! I left the house for 2 minutes and returned to find that my beautiful wife has been branded a murdering, thieving, cross-dressing housekeeper. Why can't we have a normal, quiet time of mourning like other families? Mabel, we will find your other bag.
Mabel glares at Tess, then looks down at Enty's armband and softly strokes it.
Yes, of course. Very well, Edward.
Why don't we get you all settled in your rooms?
It's about time.
I don't need help.
Don't touch my bag.
As the ants start to go, Edna grabs the coat that Tess has been holding and reveals her purse, still in Tess's hands. Edna snatches it away and scowls. They all scowl at Tess as they exit upstairs. Enty starts to pick up the luggage.
Darling, can you help me get them settled in? Tess? Tess, would you mind helping me?
Very well, Edward.
Enty's eyes grow wide. Blackout. Act 1, Scene 2. Same room, same day, 30 minutes later. As the lights come up, Tess is alone in the room, sitting on the sofa. She is smoking frantically and gently rocking herself front to back. Enty enters the room and sees her, then pauses for a moment to study her. He cautiously comes over and sits next to her on the sofa.
Tess? I'm sorry I left you alone with them. Tess, please say something. Are you all right, darling?
Of course I'm all right. Why on earth would you think that I wasn't all right?
Tess takes another drag of the cigarettes.
Because you don't smoke.
Well, I do now. No. I'm not sure if I'll ever be all right again. They all hated me. Of course, it seems I did murder Edward, stole Mabel's bag, and wore trousers, so it stands to reason that they would hate me. Why, yes, now I hate me too. You should hate me.
Victoria sweeps into the house. She is humming and carrying a grocery bag. She shouts up the stairs.
Hello? Is anyone up there?
Victoria enters the study. Tess freezes wide-eyed.
It's just Mother.
Tess stares blankly. Victoria does not notice them. Enty goes to her.
Hello, Mother.
T.
She hugs and kisses him.
Marriage is agreeing with you. You've shaved off that ridiculous mustache and put on 5 pounds.
Enty smiles. She begins brushing off his coat and fussing with his hair.
So where is your lovely wife? She came with you, didn't she?
Enty nods toward Tess. Victoria goes to the sofa and sits next to Tess, trying to figure her out.
Tess?
Tess tries to speak, but cannot.
Oh my God. You've met my sisters? Oh, there, Tess. Rather terrifying, wasn't it? Did you meet all 3 at once?
Were there only 3?
Both Mabels.
Oh, you poor child. Entrance Overhill, what is wrong with you? You cannot subject an uninitiated person to those 3 all at once.
They arrived here at the same time. I tried to warn her.
You cannot warn her. You have to guide her along like a dinghy through shark-infested waters. Why didn't you wait for me? I just went to the market. Didn't your brother tell you?
Exit? Not surprisingly, I haven't seen him.
Well, we arrived last night. I can't imagine where he would be now.
Well, I've only seen your sisters who arrived an hour ago. I settled them in upstairs just after they drove Tess into madness. True to form, they all wanted the same room at the top of the stairs, and it was the only room that was locked.
Of course it was locked. I locked it.
You locked it? Why?
Well, because I'm staying there.
Why do you want it?
Well, it's the room they'd stayed in when they came to visit Edward, and I had a feeling that they would all dig their heels in to get it, so I came here last night to get it for myself.
Ah, I see. You took it for spite then.
Personal preference. I like the room too, and I didn't want anyone stealing it away.
Aha.
But I didn't steal Aunt Mabel's bag.
Oh, of course you didn't, dear. My God, they've completely broken her.
I never even saw another bag. We were going to talk about the wedding and the honeymoon, and I never worked for Uncle Edward ever. I meant his new wife. Wait, not new wife, just wife.
That's right. Of course you are. She's practically drooling.
Enty, how many wives have you had?
Just you, my darling. Just you.
Eggsy enters the house and comes into the study. He is covered with landscape debris from his fall out the solarium window. His look frightens Tess, and she quickly throws her arms around Victoria.
Exy, where on earth have you been?
Oh, I went for a little walk.
Through a briar patch? What is that all over you?
I stumbled and I fell along the roadside. I seem to have bumped my head as well. Oh.
Of course you did.
Maybe that man took Aunt Mabel's bag.
Wouldn't surprise me one bit. You are one sad sack.
Exy, you haven't met Enty's bride, Tess.
Hello. Exit.
All right.
Tess heads toward the door.
Where are you going?
The gardener told me to exit, so I'm leaving.
Enty guides Tess back into the room.
No, you're not. That's his name. Exit.
Oh.
Tess smiles and extends her hand for him to shake.
Hello. My husband has a brother with the same silly name.
Yes, that's me.
Oh, really? What a coincidence. I don't work for your uncle. He's dead, you know, but I didn't kill him. You believe that, don't you, that I didn't kill him? I speak English!
Tess.
This has obviously been a very trying morning. Why don't we all go into the kitchen and I'll set out something to eat?
I like to eat.
I'm sure you do, dear. Dear Lord, I'm going to have to hide the knives.
Exit and I will be along shortly, Mother.
We will?
As I said, this has been a trying morning, and I do not want it to get any worse. You two will behave, won't you?
Of course. I'll see to it that my brother behaves.
Victoria glares at Enty, who moves to Tess.
Run along with Mother, darling. Have something to eat.
That sounds delightful.
Victoria escorts Tess out of the room. The two men size each other up.
Entrance.
Exit.
You look well.
Yes, I do, don't I?
And
I feel well, too, thank you. Tell me, what nasty scourge or deadly plague will send you charging off as usual for one of Edward's medicinal malady books today? Oh, yes, you fell into a ditch and hit your head. Tragic. Is it terminal? How many fingers am I holding up?
Are you finished? Because I'm thinking about holding up a finger now. Can you guess which one?
Very droll, Exit. You know I could have used your help a little while ago getting the aunts settled in. You knew they were coming, so why did you leave?
I just went for a walk.
Your timing never ceases to astound me. The moment you're needed, you're suddenly unavailable.
Let's try to remember why we're here, shall we?
Well, I'm well aware of why we're here.
Tess seems quite lovely.
Nothing gets past you, does it?
Though she did say seem somewhat distracted. What with all the business about missing bags and killing Uncle Edward?
She met our aunts for the first time this morning.
Oh, good Lord, it's a wonder she can speak at all. Huh. So, how long have you been married now?
3 months.
3 months? I'm sorry I didn't attend the nuptials, but my invitation must have gotten lost in the mail.
The wedding was rather sudden, small ceremony, very private affair.
Sudden? Not at the end of a shotgun, I hope.
Amusing. So how is life as a secretary?
I told you before, I am not a secretary. I'm the executive assistant to the vice president of Berkshire Publishing.
Oh, that's right. Tell me, do you type?
Yes.
Take dictation and file?
Yes.
Make appointments?
Yes.
Then you're a secretary.
No, I'm not.
then you're a disgrace. You're educated, experienced, and you know that business better than any man who started it. If you had an ounce of ambition, you'd be running the place by now instead of fetching coffee for a vice president.
Oh, and what about you? What have you done with your life?
I don't know what you're talking about.
You know very well what I'm talking about. Your professors at the university said you were like Twain, Emerson, and Frost all rolled into one. They called you gifted. You had an extraordinary talent as a writer. Uncle Edward saw it too.
Well, they were all wrong about me.
No, they were absolutely right. You had a chance to make a difference, to create works that were truly meaningful and lasting, but instead you spend your days scribbling contracts and making deals. So don't lecture me about underachieving. Say, that reminds me. Have you thrown out any little old ladies out in the gutter lately?
A few.
Tell me, Enty, how does your lovely bride feel about that?
Tess enters.
How does his lovely bride feel about what?
About having a brother-in-law.
Uh-huh. Well, I just love the idea. Exit, please excuse my behavior earlier. I wasn't really myself.
Quite all right. You're not the only one.
I'm looking forward to finding out all about you. I've never met anyone who was a secretary.
I'm not a secretary.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Don't apologize. He's not much of a man either. You're looking much better, darling. Whatever mother fed you must have done the trick.
I feel better. Your mother was kind enough to talk me down off the ledge, then plied me with a sweet roll.
Victoria enters with a tray of coffee and bakery.
Where, my boys? You never came in to eat, so I brought something out to you. I'm glad to see you both in one piece. I'm never really sure what I'll expect.
All is well, Mother. Just catching up with my sniveling little brother.
Yes, you have enough on your mind this week. It's best not to trouble yourself with the boorish ramblings of your slightly older son.
Oh, splendid. I can imagine why I wasn't concerned. Now, have some coffee and a Danish.
Nothing for me, Mother. I feel a headache coming on, so I'm going to up to my room to lay down for a while.
But Exie,
Shh, Mother, please, in a short while, when the headache from my minor concussion subsides, I shall gather my strength so that I may be there for you during the...
Oh, good God. Spare us the soliloquy and leave.
Enty!
You're very sweet to champion me, Tess, but I'm afraid brother can't help himself. Please excuse me.
He exits.
Entrance, I'm surprised at you. Your brother is in pain.
Oh, no. My brother is a pain.
I thought we agreed that you would try to be nice.
Oh, don't be hard on him, Victoria or Tess. Enty's methods may be a little off-putting at times, but his brother does have a flair for melodrama and needs to have the curtain rung down on him now and again.
I'll see who it is.
Now remember what I told you, dear. Stand up to my sisters and never back down. It's the only way you'll survive.
I'll try.
Enty enters with Thornby, who is a wiry little man. He and Victoria do not like him at all and don't hide it.
Hello, Abner.
Hello, Victoria. Oh, my condolences on Edward. Oh, terrible, terrible loss.
Oh, he's not lost.
I beg your pardon.
He's not lost, he's dead.
Oh, I'm well aware of that, miss.
This is Edward's attorney, Mr. Thornby. Abner, this is Tess.
Pleasure.
So why are you here, Abner?
Thornby was just saying that he had a number of things to go over with me pertaining to Uncle Edward's affairs. He requested that we speak privately.
Now, Enty, anything Thornby has to say to you, he can certainly say to...
He stops, glances down at his armband. Tears up.
Very well, Edward. I'll take Tess outside and I'll show her the garden.
That sounds wonderful.
Victoria and Tess exit.
So, Entrance, terrible shame about your uncle.
Yes, it is.
Your mother seems to be doing all right from what I could see, although these old eyes aren't what they used to be.
She's fine. So what do we need to talk about?
I haven't seen you around here in quite some time. Must be at least, 10 years?
12, actually.
That's right. It was just after the war. You had been out of college for a couple of years and came up here to spend time with Edward. Oh, you were going to be a writer.
Something like that.
Yes, a famous writer. Oh, Edward loved your writing, bragged about it constantly. He said you could do it all: novels, stories, poems, essays. Oh, how did that work out for you?
Well, let's see. Have you read The Great Gatsby?
Why, yes.
So have I. Brilliant piece of work. Now let's get to it, Formby. I'm a busy man.
Enty crosses to the desk. He starts sorting through the clutter.
Enty, I suppose you know the value of the estate?
Well, not in round numbers, but I have a pretty good idea.
So, you know that just after the war, Edward started to dabble in the market. And of course, it turned out he had the Midas touch.
Whatever you say, Formby.
During the crash, when people were jumping out of skyscrapers and standing in bread lines, your uncle was quietly amassing quite an impressive nest egg.
An impressive nest egg? Kudos to you, Formby. You almost had me going there.
Don't be coy, Entrance. You are well aware that over the last 12 years, your uncle has accumulated a little over $1 million in his estate.
Only $1 million? Even after he figured out the market?
I didn't say he figured out the market. Actually, he figured people. Edward had a keen sense of what people needed, what they wanted, and more importantly, what they couldn't do without. And he invested accordingly.
Of course he did. Shall I gather the family and give them the great news?
No, not just yet. There is a little more to it than that. Here you go.
Hornby produces an envelope.
Now, several months ago, Edward gave me this letter and said that in the event of his death, I was to give it to you on the day before the memorial service.
You're going to play this all the way out, eh? All right.
Enty takes the envelope.
That's my name and my uncle's handwriting on the front and his wax seal on the back.
He opens the envelope.
It's written on his letterhead. Dear Entrance, if you're reading this, then I am no longer of this world. I'm sorry that I never had the chance to bid you farewell in person, old boy. Formby should have informed you of the current value of my estate by now. This isn't a joke. You're being straight about that.
Of course I was.
Didn't think your old uncle had it in him, did you? Quite frankly, no.
You mean you didn't know anything about the estate?
Enty ignores Hornby and reads on.
Pay close attention to the instructions in this letter. If they are followed precisely, the whole of my estate will be divided among the entire family. However, if you deviate at all from what I have written here, every penny will go to the Society for the Preservation of the Goldfish. Goldfish? I had no idea you were in danger of going extinct. Formby, just what do you know about this Goldfish Society business? Is this on the level? Is it on the level, Formby?
Yeah, well, yes, of course it's on the level. I just checked into it myself. Very legitimate. Edward developed a fondness for goldfish over the years.
Huh. Is that right? First, tell no one of the value of my estate, not your mother, my sisters, your brother, or even your lovely new wife, Tess.
Is Tess your new wife?
Yes.
How many wives have you had?
Oh, shut up, Formby. Secondly, you will have to find another letter that is hidden in my house within 3 days of reading this one. That letter must be opened and read aloud by you to the family by the 3rd day, or my entire estate will go to the Goldfish Society, and the family will receive nothing. Thirdly, you must use your brother to aid in your quest. You will have to put your differences aside and work together. His assistance will be invaluable. Oh, I seriously doubt that. Doubt it or not, you will need him. Tess can help you look for the letter as well if you like. Finally, whatever you do, keep my sisters out of it. They must stay in the house until the letter is read, but they must not know that the letter, the money, or the deadline exists. I imagine that all of this must seem rather confusing right now, but I can assure you that in time it will make perfect sense. You will have to trust me, my boy. Good luck and Godspeed, Uncle Edward. P.S. These words I write to advise. Be careful in what you surmise. While the goldfish you see could well be the key, a blind eye could mean your demise.
Hornby studies Enty intently.
What does that mean?
I haven't the slightest idea.
Well, you had better figure it out in the next couple of days, or the Goldfish Society will get everything.
All right, Hornby, you'll have to run along now. I have to finish preparing for the memorial tomorrow. Keep my dear aunts here an extra day, save my wife's sanity, and enlist the help of my useless brother.
Now, Entrance, I must have your word that you will follow these instructions precisely. Your family cannot know any details until that second letter is found and read aloud by you, and I must be here to verify that. Now, contact me immediately if, or rather, when you find it.
Yes, of course. You have my word. Goodbye now.
Hornby exits. Enty looks at the portrait.
You've been busy, little uncle, haven't you? Secret fortunes, goldfish societies, hidden letters. When did you find the time to practice medicine? You have placed me in an extremely awkward position, Edward. If I succeed, the family will be sitting pretty for the rest of their lives.
He goes to the goldfish.
But if I fail, I'll be all wet, and you and your kind will get everything.
He turns back to the portrait.
And now you're asking me to trust you as if I really had a choice. Very well, Edward.
He exits the room. The lights fade to black. Act 1, Scene 3. Same study, day 2, late morning. As the lights come up, the study is empty and the phone is ringing. The door to the house opens and Enty comes in, carrying the portrait of Edward. He sets the picture down, hangs his hat on the coat rack, and rushes over to the phone on the desk.
Hello, Lewis? Yes, it's me. We just returned from the service. Fine. Listen, I tried to telephone you last night, but I couldn't get a call out. Did you get the good doctor to sign the contract?
Tess and Eggsy enter. Enty's back is to them.
You did? Wonderful. It's astounding what you can accomplish when your job depends on it. Yes, well, the Henderson family will find a place to live eventually. Now I have to go. Good work, Lewis. Goodbye.
What was that about?
That was Lewis. Great news. The big deal I phoned him about yesterday is in the bag. Isn't that wonderful?
Tess gives Enty a troubled look, but does not respond. Tess places a purse on the side table. Enty rehangs the portrait.
It was a lovely memorial service. Enty, your eulogy was beautifully written. You captured your uncle perfectly. Everyone was quite moved. I had no idea you had such a way with words.
You know, I thought the same thing with the colorful descriptions and the well-placed anecdotes. One might go so far as to say it was masterful. Wherever have you been hiding that way with words, dear brother?
That's enough, Exit.
What is with you two? Enty, your brother is paying you a compliment and you're ready to bite his head off.
I'm sorry, darling. With Edward passing and everything that's going on, I feel a bit edgy. Thank you for your kind words about the eulogy. but that's all behind us. Right now, we're in a pickle.
Why?
Well, had you stayed awake last night when I explained everything to you, you'd know why.
I was resting my eyes because I have ocular stenosia.
No, you were sleeping because you have perpetual hypochondria.
The pickle, of course, is your aunt's. They're all planning to leave for home when they get back here.
Oh, thank God, I've had my fill.
Listen to me, Exit. They cannot leave until we find the letter that they cannot know about, which Uncle Edward addressed to me and hid somewhere in this house. Ring a bell?
I'm not a child, Enty. Don't treat me like a child.
Do you have a plan? How will we keep them here?
All I know right now is that you both have to do exactly what I tell you when I tell you to do it.
All right. Exit?
Yes, I will do whatever he says, whenever he says it.
Mother is driving them back, so they'll be here soon. Now, none of them like to travel after dark, so the trick will be to keep them busy until the sun goes down. Tess, darling, I'll need you to stick with Aunt Mabel like fly paper.
Oh, no, I couldn't. I can't.
You can and you must.
But Enty, I can't get past the other Mabel. She frightens me. What if Mabel too comes back?
Then you must become Tess too. Match her tone, temperament, every step of the way. If she turns back into Mabel 1, turn back with her. She won't know how to handle it. She'll buckle. She's more bark than bite.
You mean she bites too? No, I can't do it. I don't have Tess 2 in me.
Darling, all women have a Tess 2 in them.
Oh, is that right? Well, I don't.
Very well, dear. Perhaps you're right. By the way, do you recall the cocktail party at the Wilsons the week before last?
Oh, yes, of course.
Well, I'm not sure how to tell you this, but your dear friend, Juanita Wilson, pinched my bottom on the way out.
Oh, why, that witch! That no-good bottom-pinching she-devil! I'm going to tear her arms off!
There's my Tess 2. I knew she was in there.
Entrance Overhill if you want to see a Tess 2.
Save it for Mabel, darling. You'll need every ounce.
What about me? How do I fit into your master plan?
I'll need you with Aunt Edna.
Edna? Oh, please. How could I possibly occupy Edna?
I haven't figured that out yet, but I will.
What about your mother?
I'll handle Gertie and Mother.
So when will we look for this hidden letter?
Yes, the letter. Once we get them to stay put, the 3 of us will meet back here at the guest house tonight and then come back here together to look for my letter when they've all gone to bed. Here they come.
The sisters enter.
Oh, I'm sure you could have found a longer way to get back here, Victoria, if you had really put your mind to it.
I rather enjoyed the country air. It's a lovely day.
There's nothing lovely about it. You just memorialized our dead brother.
Uh-oh. Grumpy Gertie is back to rain on everyone's parade.
Parade? You call this a parade? That's it. I've had enough.
5 minutes. Can we not have 5 minutes without the 2 of you going at each other?
Oh, in 5 minutes, you'll have all the silence you desire. I'm leaving.
Music to my ears.
Oh, Aunt Gertie, you can't leave yet. You haven't eaten lunch.
Lunch? Who cares if I eat lunch?
You have a very long drive ahead of you. You should travel on a full stomach. Right, Mother?
If she doesn't want to stay, I'll fix something for her to take along.
Fine. I'll go pack unless you have a problem with that. How about you, Contessa? Can you think of a reason I should stay? Something you would like to confess, maybe?
No, nothing.
Your bags won't pack themselves, Gertie.
Gertrude exits.
What on earth was that about?
Oh, ignore her. She's been inhaling fumes from that wreck she drives. She has a nasty case of tailpipe stupidity.
Her voice booms from upstairs.
I heard that, Edna.
I'll put my medical staff on your case when I get home.
You don't have a medical staff.
Victoria, fetch a lunch menu for me and some mineral water.
This isn't the Waldorf Astoria, Edna. There is no lunch menu or mineral water.
Well, in that case, I will also take my lunch to go, woman.
Fetch? Order? Woman? Edna? Sometimes I could just...
She exits muttering.
Enty, would you be so kind as to call a cab for me? The last train leaves in 2 hours.
Aunt Mabel,
Yes, my dear.
must you leave so quickly? I haven't yet had a chance to tell you about the wedding and the honeymoon.
Well, you'll just have to join me upstairs as I pack, because I must be on my way.
All right, I will join you upstairs while you pack.
Mabel exits. Tess follows at a distance. Edna is seated on the sofa and has removed her glasses and laid her head back. Enty motions for Eggsy to go to Edna. He refuses.
Are you all right, Aunt Edna?
Oh, fine, dear. Oh, just sitting here wishing I was an only child.
I know exactly how you feel. And Edna, how do you plan to leave today? You fired your chauffeur yesterday, didn't you?
Quite true. I hadn't thought of that.
Perhaps we can come up with some suitable candidates for you to interview here tomorrow or even the day after.
Out of the question. I have an appointment this evening at a spa near my home. I'll take the train if I must.
Ah, a spa. Exactly what is it they do for you at a spa?
Oh, everything. They start with the tips of my toes and end up with the top of my head. It's absolutely heavenly.
Sounds splendid. I wouldn't want you to miss that. You can share a cab to the train depot with Aunt Mabel.
Oh, it must be my lucky day. I suppose I'll go upstairs and finish packing.
Edna exits up the stairs. Enty goes to Eggsy.
What is the matter with you? I told you to occupy Edna.
Well, I don't know what to say to her.
Enty notices 2 lace doilies on the side table and gets an idea.
Take off your coat and tie.
Why?
Just do it.
Eggsy removes his coat. Enty grabs the large doily and tucks it into Eggsy's waist like an apron, then puts the small doily on Eggsy's head.
What are you doing?
Giving you a reason to be with Aunt Edna. You're going to be a housekeeper. You'll need to look the part.
Enty opens the drawer of the side table and discovers a wig and a pair of women's shoes. He holds them up.
Uncle Edward.
A wig and a large pair of women's shoes. Uncle Edward? Never mind, just put them on.
As Eggsy puts on the shoes and wig, Enty grabs Tess's bag from the side table and takes out rouge, lipstick, and powder. He starts to make up Eggsy. Eggsy grabs the makeup from him.
Stop, that is no way to add color to a cheek. Mirror.
Enty opens the desk drawer and pulls out a hand mirror as Eggsy applies the rouge. Enty hands him the mirror.
You must start with the cheekbones and brush the color away in a feathering motion like this. Apply a little powder to the nose to take down the shine. And then the lipstick must be carefully applied, following the contour of the lips in the confined areas to not be overdone. And blotted.
Eggsy picks up a piece of paper off the desk and presses it between his lips, then puckers into the mirror. Then he places the doily back on his head and smiles.
Perfect. Now, why a woman?
Much more believable.
Enty hears a noise from the stairs and shoves Eggsy toward the exam room. Gertrude comes down but stays out of sight. She peers into the study and gets a glimpse of Enty pushing Eggsy through the swinging door. She charges in.
What are you doing?
Oh, goodness, Aunt Gertie, you startled me.
Who did you just push into that room?
Push into that room? What do you mean?
Don't try to deny it entrance. You may be able to pull the wool over the eyes of everyone else in this house, but not me. You're up to something, and I know what it is.
I see. Then you know about the letter.
Floozy. What letter?
Floozy? What floozy?
What letter? Don't try to change the subject, entrance. I saw the little tramp you pushed into the exam room. Playing doctor, are we?
Little tramp?
I can see what's going on here.
Oh, Aunt Gertie, there's nothing going on. You're always trying to make something from nothing.
Oh, you men are all alike, only married a couple months. You're already looking for a younger bottom to chase. I was wrong about Contessa. She's not a suspect. She's a victim.
She bolts toward the exam room.
Where are you going?
Out of my way, you cad. Edward enjoyed an occasional dalliance with a saucy tart now and then, but he would never have put up with these backdoor shenanigans in his home, and neither will I. I'm going to throw that harlot out.
Enty moves, and Gertrude charges toward the door, just as Eggsy barrels into the room, swinging the door open, knocking Gertrude back and trapping her.
Why'd you push me in there?
Oh, good Lord, Aunt Gertie.
Enty swings the door back, revealing that Gertrude has been knocked out by the door. She falls into Enty's arms.
Oh, well, what happened to her?
Once again, your timing is impeccable. She saw me push you in there and she's trying to figure out what I was up to.
Oh, dear.
She had the crazy idea that I was cheating on Tess with you.
Why on earth would she think that?
Oh, who knows? It's Gertie. Now shut up and help me, you floozy.
Oh, well, what did you expect me to do?
Grab her feet and help me carry her into the room.
Her feet? Oh, no. Funguses, ingrown nails, peeling skin. I despise feet. No.
You're moving her, not giving her a pedicure, you idiot. Grab her legs then.
Eggsy picks up her legs and starts backing toward the stairs when a humming is heard. They freeze.
Mother.
Now what?
The exam room.
Oh.
They shuffle Gertrude back across the stage into the exam room. The next moment, Victoria enters wearing a white apron and carrying bags of food. Enty comes back in.
We are. Oh, Enty, I left some things at the Memorial Chapel and I wanted Exit to drive me back into town. Do you know where he went?
Went? How would I know where he went? He's always wandering off. He could be anywhere. I'm not my brother's keeper.
You're behaving very strangely. Oh, God. You didn't kill him, did you?
Not yet.
Oh, no. On second thought, I'll just go by myself. I need to clear my mind and my head anyway, and the food is in the sacks. It's for Gertie and Edna. Tell them all goodbye for me.
Victoria removes her apron and puts it on the sofa and exits the house. Enty goes to the exam room, peeks in, and motions for Eggsy.
How's Gertie?
Out cold.
Good, I guess. Edna will be down any minute.
Enty yanks the doily out from Eggsy's pants and puts Victoria's apron on him.
Listen, your name is Eunice. You kept house for Uncle Edward, and before that you worked at a spa called,
He notices the statue of the goddess on the mantle.
Called the Garden of the Gray Goddess.
What?
He drags Eggsy to the door.
Now wait outside until Edna comes down into the study. Give me a minute, then ring the doorbell.
Then what?
Then follow my lead. Just go.
Right.
Eggsy exits. Enty quickly moves back to his seat. He puts Edna's glasses in his pocket just as she comes down the stairs and enters the study.
When will the cab be here?
Hard to say. They sounded quite busy.
Oh, that must be them.
Enty goes to the door and returns with Eggsy.
Be a dear and run upstairs and get my bags now. Now, where are my glasses?
Oh, my stars. And Edna, it's Uncle Edward's housekeeper. She's come to pay her respects.
Oh, that is very kind of you, dear.
This is you.
What have I told you, entrants? Never introduce the help. They will introduce themselves when asked. Now, what is your name, dear?
Esmeralda. So sorry about Mr. Edward.
Thank you, Esmeralda. I wish I could see you better, child, but I seem to have misplaced my trousers. Why on earth are you wearing trousers?
Trousers? Why, they're all the rage. Also quite comfortable, ma'am.
Really? Comfortable and all the rage?
Mm-hmm.
You don't say.
I seem to remember Uncle Edward telling me that Esmeralda worked in a spa before coming to work for him. Isn't that right, Esmeralda?
A spa? Oh, yes, of course. The spa. Yes, yes.
Indeed. Which spa was it?
Eggsy looks at the statue on the mantle.
Grotto of the Gray Nipples. That's right.
Oh, I've never heard of that one. What was your specialty?
Feet.
Feet?
Feet.
Feet? Oh, how delightful!
Mrs. Snodgrass was just telling me that she had an appointment at her spa this evening, but we're having a devil of a time getting her home.
Oh, how tragic. Well, I must be going.
Eggsy turns to leave and Enty grabs his arm.
I just had a thought. And Edna, since you might be a little delayed for your appointment, I wonder if Esmeralda here could begin your treatment.
Begin my treatment? Whatever do you mean?
Yes! Whatever do you mean?
Why doesn't Esmeralda start with the tips of your toes and just give those feet of yours the royal treatment?
Well, I am accustomed to having strangers. I'm unaccustomed to having strangers who come without recommendations perform any sort of treatment on my personage.
Quite understandable, ma'am, so I will be on my...
Then again, it has been a trying couple of days, and Edward did love his feet.
He did?
Mm-hmm. Yes, he could stare at them for hours. So if he put his trust in you, Esmeralda, then I'm willing to make an exception in this case.
Yes.
No.
What?
Well, ma'am, I haven't brought my kits. No.
Oh, you're in luck. You are in luck. I never travel without one.
Edna reaches in her purse and pulls out a small bag.
It was everything you need. Let's see. I have a pumice stone. I have witch hazel and cotton. You can start with my calluses and then move on up to my corns. We'll see where it goes from there. Cancel my cab entrance. I'll leave tomorrow. I want Esmeralda to take her time.
Oh, God, no.
Splendid. Now, why don't we move you out into the solarium? The light is much better and the air is fresh. It'll be like getting spoiled in the Hamptons.
What a marvelous idea. I must tell you, Esmeralda, this is quite a surprise.
Oh, for both of us, ma'am.
Eggsy and Edna exit into the solarium. Enty looks at the portrait with a puzzled look on his face.
A wig, women's shoes, saucy tarts, a fondness for goldfish, and could stare at your feet for hours. What else don't I know about you? Did you have bats in your belfry too?
He suddenly remembers.
Oh, good God, Aunt Gertie.
Enty rushes toward the exam room. A groggy Gertrude has begun to push the door out just as Enty pushes the door in, hard. Gertrude disappears with a thump. Enty opens the door and peers inside.
Great Scott, she's down again.
He goes into the room. Mabel and Tess enter the study. Mabel is carrying a suitcase and a small box.
Well, it sounds like it was a very sweet proposal and a lovely ceremony, Tess.
It was, Aunt Mabel. What's in the box?
Mabel sits with her back to the exam room door.
Oh, just some insects.
Insects?
Yes. I was going to go up to the attic and release them before I left. Edward just loved to feed the bats.
Bats? In the attic?
Well, of course, silly. Is my cab here yet?
I'll check.
As Tess goes to look outside, Enty backs out of the exam room, pulling the unconscious Gertrude in a wheelchair, unaware of the women. He spins the chair around just as Tess comes back into the room. Tess is startled and gasps as she and Enty lock eyes. He freezes. She moves to the fireplace, trying to look unfazed.
No, it isn't here yet.
What's wrong? Why did you gasp?
Enty has begun to creep toward the doorway with the wheelchair. Tess tries to draw Mabel's attention.
No reason. Well, since we have a little more time, let's sit and I'll tell you all about the honeymoon.
Mabel moves up closely behind Tess. Enty quickly wheels Gertrude out into the entry hall.
People gasped for a reason. You saw something. What was it?
What could I have possibly seen?
The women size each other up.
I know you're up to something.
You have a vivid imagination, lady.
Do I? You've been plotting against me since I arrived.
Have I now?
Of course you have. Did you think I wouldn't notice? I think you're all plotting something. It started with my missing bag, but that was just the beginning. You're one of the plotters, and now you'll be sorry.
Mabel turns away from Tess in a huff and reaches into her purse. Tess is afraid and cowers. Mabel looks up at the portrait, smiles, pulls out a compact, and powders her nose.
Chirp, 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 waddle, waddle, waddle. Go with the flow and a quack, quack, quack.
Aunt Mabel, are you all right?
Perfectly fine, dear.
What were you singing?
Oh, just a little ditty I used to sing with the boys when they were young. Exy loved it, and it always made Edward laugh and laugh. Would you like to learn it? It has motions, too.
Why, yes, I would love to.
Mabel faces forward and holds her hands up near her head like hand puppets. Tess joins in.
It starts like this. Chirp, chirp, chirp.
Mabel closes her thumbs to her fingers with each chirp.
Chirp, chirp, chirp.
And then waddle like a penguin. Waddle, waddle, waddle.
Mabel waddles forward a few steps with her heels together and feet turned out and hands at her sides flipped upward.
Waddle, waddle, waddle.
That's right. Then put your hands out in front and move them together from right to left. Go with the flow.
Mabel puts her hands out and moves them in a wavy motion from right to left.
Go with the flow.
Then flap your wings like a duck. And the quack, quack, quack.
With arms bent, Mabel puts her thumbs under each arm and flaps them while rotating in a circle for one full turn.
And a quack, quack, quack.
They both laugh, and at that moment, Eggsy is seen by the solarium door trying to sneak back into the study, unaware of the women.
Now then.
Eggsy, still made up, hears their voices and stops upstage of the women who do not see him.
Let's put it all together, shall we?
The two women stand side by side, put their hands up in the chirp position. Eggsy, smiling, he assumes the same position.
Ready?
Tess and Eggsy nod. Mabel and Tess sing and act out the song, and Eggsy does the motions.
Chirp, chirp, chirp. Waddle, waddle, waddle. Go with the flow and a quack, quack, quack.
As the women start to turn, they see Eggsy and stop abruptly. His back is to them, and as he completes his turn, he stops and sees both women, smiles, curtsies, and goes back to the solarium. The women slowly turn around. Tess looks at Mabel, unsure of what will happen next.
Well, that was fun. And Mabel?
Mabel slowly turns to Tess, and as she does, her expression changes.
Don't call me that. I'm not your aunt, and I don't like you.
Mabel sits on the sofa, back to back with Tess.
Huh. I don't like you either.
Well,
Mabel turns to Tess in a huff and slaps her across the cheek.
Well.
Tess slaps Mabel back. Mabel is stunned, but slaps Tess again. Tess returns the slap. This exchange repeats several times more, and then Mabel pops up off the sofa, slipping back into Mabel 1.
and a quack, quack, quack. So, where was this romantic honeymoon?
Niagara Falls?
Mabel freezes.
Niagara Falls.
Mabel turns to Tess and starts moving toward her.
Slowly I turned, step by step, inch by inch.
Aunt Mabel, I think your cab is here.
Oh, I'm not leaving tonight, and neither are you.
Why not?
Because you're coming with me.
Where?
It's time to feed the bats, my dear.
Blackout. End of the act. Act 2, Scene 1. Same room, same day, late night. Dim lights come up in the study as we see that the room is empty. The door to the house opens, and Enty creeps in. He looks upstairs and then peers into the study and turns on the wall light switch. The lights come up. He looks around and then goes back out.
I think they're asleep. Hurry.
Enty and Tess enter, supporting Eggsy between them. Eggsy is changed out of the maid's outfit, but he is limping and moaning loudly.
Slowly, slowly.
Will you be quiet? You're going to wake up the whole house.
Well, he won't wake up Edna. When she wasn't gloating about her feet, she was falling asleep at the dinner table.
And Gertie will never even made it down to dinner. My guess is that she'll be out until tomorrow. But Mother is a light sleeper, so pipe down, Exit.
Oh, can you make it to the sofa? We're almost there.
Not sure. Getting very dark. Head throbbing. Oh.
They plop Eggsy on the sofa. Tess sits next to him and Enty moves to the desk.
Where did you and Mabel go after you left the study this afternoon? She seemed quite pleased with herself at dinner, like the cat that swallowed the canary.
More like the bat that swallowed Contessa.
What was that, dear?
What can I do for you, Exit? Oh, how about a drink? Would you like a drink? Enty, get your brother a drink.
What? I don't believe you're buying this nonsense.
Entrance. Your brave brother is injured and needs your help. The least you can do is get him a drink.
Brave brother. He hit his head on the gatepost bending down to tie his shoe and then tripped over the clematis bush, stumbling up the walk. Buffoon. Yes. Brave? Hardly.
Oh, dear Tess, oh,
She needs the drink.
If it will shut him up, then fine.
Enty quickly glances around the room and, seeing nothing to drink, exits into the exam room.
Tess. Tess!
Oh, I'm right here, Exy.
Could you hold me?
She puts her arm around him. and innocently presses his head to her chest.
Oh, is that better?
Oh, much.
Here is your drink.
Enty hands Tess a small jar.
Now get your head out of my wife's bosom and help me find that letter. We have precious little time.
Oh, here, Exy, drink this.
Enty goes back to searching for the letter on the desk. Exy weakly sips his drink.
Thank you. It's so kind, Tess. So very kind.
This is impossible. I can't imagine where it could be.
This drink is rather unusual taste. What is it?
Oh, have some patience, darling. You've really just started looking.
Very unique flavor. What is this?
Enty, what did you get your brother to drink?
Exy takes another big sip.
I have no idea. It was in an icebox marked specimens.
Specimens?
Tess reads the label on the jar.
Captain John Eagleford. Urine specimen.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Exy jumps up and begins pacing around.
Oh, Enty, did you give your brother a jar of urine?
I have no idea what I gave him. You told me to get him a drink, so I went into the icebox and grabbed the first thing I could find. We have more important business here.
Enty looks at Exy coughing and pacing.
Whatever it was, it seems to have cured his limp.
Oh God, that's it. I'm going to die. I'm going to die.
Calm down, you're not going to die. No one ever died from drinking urine.
Well, then how would you know that?
If people died from drinking urine, I would have read about it. I'm an avid reader.
Really? I'm perfectly fine because death by piss wasn't in Life magazine. Do you know why Colonel Abelbutt was here?
Eagleford.
What?
The label says Captain John Eagleford. You said Colonel Abelbutt. You got his name wrong and gave him a promotion.
Oh, I'm terribly sorry. Do forgive me. Do you know why Captain John Eagleford was being treated for that night? So that I might know what I have? Well, do you?
Enty slams the files down on the desk.
Damn it, it just isn't here. You know, a little help would be nice. Edward said that we were supposed to put aside our differences and work together. You've done nothing but drink, piss, and moan since we got here.
Oh, you're hilarious. You poisoned me with urine, and you still have the energy to make jokes? How do you do it?
Where could it be?
I don't believe any of this. I could be dying, and you couldn't care less.
Tess moves to Enty and begins stroking his hair to calm him down.
Enty, what exactly did the instructions say?
An exasperated Exy goes to the file cabinet and begins to look through the files.
Oh, I don't know. It said to do this, do that, don't tell anyone anything. Then, of course, there was the limerick.
Oh, it had a limerick?
Oh, yes.
Exy reads the file names.
It had a limerick.
Abel, Ackerson, Abdella.
Is that a significant clue?
It could be. How would I know? I'm sorry, darling. I don't mean to be cross with you, but this whole situation has got me all balled up.
I found it!
The letter?
No, the Eagleford file.
Who's Eagleford?
He's the man who peed in the jar you gave your brother to drink.
Exy shakes his head. Enty shakes his head at Exy.
What was Uncle Edward thinking? You're absolutely no help.
Enty and Tess go back to searching the desk. Tess sits at the desk and starts going through the drawers. Exy starts reading the file.
Captain John Eagleford, male, age 34, occupation pilot, affiliations USAC and FFL. USAC, United States Air Corps. FFL. FFL? Well, that must be the French Foreign League. That means he could have been in, like, Africa!
She finds Enty's novel.
Enty, what is this?
It's part of the past, meaningless drivel.
Africa. Oh, good Lord, he must have been stricken with something while he was abroad, and now whatever he has, I have. But what disease could he have contracted in Africa? I have to find out. I have to find out.
Exy darts to the bookcase to look for a medical book.
I'm not sure what it is, but I'm sure it's not drivel. The Boondawgle Estate by Entrance Overhill. If I become half the writer that you are a doctor.
Eggsy grabs a large book and quickly leafs through it.
Tess, please.
I shall be doubly ready to change the world. Hopefully, Enty. That's a beautiful inscription.
I got it!
The letter?
No! Malaria!
Malaria.
Ignore him. He has a snout full of piddle.
Eggsy reads on silently.
It looks like a novel. Enty, why haven't you ever told me that you are a writer?
Because I'm not. I gave it up. I gave that dream up long ago.
Why?
Making a go in business seemed far better than scratching out a living as a struggling writer. It was a regrettable choice, but it doesn't matter anyway. It's too late now.
No, it's not. I hate what your work does to you. You're like a fish out of water and it's drying you up inside. I had a feeling you were destined for loftier pursuits, and now I know why. Darling, you were meant to be a writer.
Tess leafs through some of the pages. Enty is behind Tess, looking over her shoulder as she reads. Eggsy begins to read aloud from the medical file, or the medical book, but no one is listening to him.
Malaria is a serious, often fatal disease.
Enty rubs his face against Tess's hair and cheek, and she reciprocates.
Oh God. Fatalities could include could occur in as little as 2 to 12 days. Symptoms include...
Enty spins Tess's chair around and gets down on one knee.
Darling, I'm not sure how much more of this I can take. When I'm near you, I get...
headaches, muscle pain, fever.
Oh, my sweet Enty, the sound of your voice fills me with...
nausea and chest pains.
The scent of your hair, the shimmer in your eyes, your...
cough and wheezing.
Enty, when I'm in your arms, I get...
chills, confusion, and behave abnormally.
Eggsy has moved behind the sofa and looks very unstable.
That's it then. This is how I go.
Eggsy's eyes roll up in his head.
Oh, Tess.
Death by piss.
Enty and Tess kiss, then Eggsy collapses on the floor behind the sofa. Enty and Tess do not notice and have forgotten all about him.
Enty, let's go back to the guest house now. We're not getting anywhere here. The hunt for the letter can wait.
Anything, darling.
Tess grabs Enty's hand and the manuscript, and they move quickly to the doorway and kiss again. Enty turns the light off, and they rush out, closing the door behind them. A dim glow fills the study.
Oh, I'm all right. I seem to have blacked out.
A ruffling of pages is heard.
Wait, something just fell out of this book. It's an envelope with Enty's name on it.
A hand suddenly shoots up from behind the sofa, holding an envelope.
I found it! The letter! Entrance? Tess?
Enty peeks up over the top of the sofa.
Oh, for God's sakes.
Blackout. Act 2, Scene 2. Same room, day 3, mid-morning. As the lights come up, the study is empty. Mabel enters carrying a tray with a teapot and teacups. She puts it on the coffee table and begins setting the cups out. Edna comes down the stairs into the study. She is wearing a pair of Edward's trousers, and her dress is tucked into them. The waist on the pants is pulled up just below Edna's bust. She steps confidently into the room and moves to the fireplace. Mabel, who has been setting out the teacups, looks up at Edna, and her mouth drops open.
Edna?
Edna assumes a masculine pose with one foot up on the coffee table. She leans into Mabel.
Yes. Are those Edward's trousers? Not anymore. Edna, how are you feeling?
Edna slaps her knee and stands straight up with her fists on her hips like Superman.
I've feel positively liberated. I am a new woman. Trousers are all the rage in New York, you know.
She sits next to Mabel on the sofa, spread eagle. Mabel leans away.
Oh my goodness.
I tell you, I should have done this years ago. I feel so alive, so free.
She scratches her pant leg near the crotch.
Perhaps a bit too free.
I was thinking about our conversation at breakfast. Are you absolutely certain that you heard Enty correctly?
Yes. Enty said that Exy drank it and it healed his limp.
But Exit does not have a limp.
But it appears to have worked. It is said to have curative properties.
Well, if it helps my lumbago, I'm all for it.
Eggsy enters the study in a bathrobe and pajamas, looking very pale.
Hello, ladies.
Exit, my boy. You look like hell.
That's true. Can I pour you a cup of tea?
No, thank you. And Edna, are you wearing trousers?
Yes, they feel wonderful.
Did you tuck your dress down in them?
Of course. You wouldn't expect me to wear that dress over the trousers, would you? Oh, dear boy, you have no sense of fashion.
I suppose not. Would any of you know where my mother is?
She got a telegram and went into town with entrance to meet Mr. Philby.
No, Edna.
Hmm?
Enty tried calling Mr. Thornby on an urgent matter, but he couldn't get a call out, so Enty and Tess went into town to meet with him. Victoria has been buzzing around here all morning. She didn't even come to breakfast.
Nonsense. You never get your facts straight, Mabel.
Don't start with me, Edna. I always get my facts straight. It's you who have trouble hearing.
Mabel notices Eggsy staring at them. Her tone changes.
Exit. Why are you staring at us? It's rude. Go away.
Oh, let the boy alone. He had a rough night. Enty told us all about your deformity and subsequent miraculous recovery.
He did?
Yes, and it has inspired us. You know, I must admit, I'm a bit nervous about this.
It's him. He's making me nervous too. I'm watching you, Exit.
Oh, simmer down and drink up, Mabel. Maybe it will exorcise that dreadful demon of yours.
Edna pours from the teapot into the clear teacup. The liquid is gold in color.
What is that?
What do you think it is?
I know very well what it is, but why are you drinking it?
We're curious about its curative properties.
Curative properties?
Yes.
All right, that's it. Give me your cups right now. Come on.
He collects the cups.
I knew he was up to something. Exit, what are you doing?
Stopping you, that's what. Listen to me. Exactly what did Enty say about last night?
He said that you drank urine and it cured your polio.
I never had polio. I was just limping. I'll tell you what happened.
All right, then. Out with a boy. Talk to the trousers.
Well, last night, Enty, Tess, and I were out on our way to the guest house, from the guest house to this house. I bent down to tie my shoe, and I hit my head on the gatepost, which knocked me off my balance. So as I stumbled up the walk, I tripped on the clematis bush. I was so embarrassed that I pretended to limp to make it seem worse than it was.
Exy, you are talking too fast. I can't understand you. What did he say?
I didn't catch all of it, but he said he was working on the bush and became embarrassed when he stumbled on the clitoris and went limp.
Oh, Exit. All men stumble when they get to that spot.
Oh.
Mabel and Edna smile and nod in agreement to each other,
Yeah.
to Eggsy, and then in unison to the audience.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what's bothering you?
No, I haven't made my point yet. You see, Tess made Enty get me a drink, and he brought me a jar of something that turned out to be urine. And then he told all of you that it cured a limp, which I never really had. You see? So there are no curative properties in urine. Do you understand?
Well, that was a wonderful story, Etsy. And you told it beautifully. But it doesn't explain why you took our tea.
Well, a tea? But it's yellow.
Oh, I understand that green tea is always yellow.
This is green tea.
Of course. What did you think it was? Urine?
Well,
Did you think we were going to drink pee?
One piddle drinker in the family is enough, wouldn't you agree?
Yes, I suppose so.
May we have our tinkle cups back now?
Victoria enters with a vase of roses.
Sorry I'm late, but I went out to the garden and completely lost track of time.
Not to worry, Victoria. We saved a special cup for you and its body temperature.
Exie, I hadn't seen you yet this morning.
Mother, could we talk privately?
We were just leaving. I'm taking Mabel upstairs to Edward's closet for a give her life-changing experience.
Mabel has a look of concern. As they start to leave, Edna slaps her on the backside. They exit up the stairs.
Was Edna wearing Edward's trousers?
I think so, but that's not important now. Mother.
Are you wearing lipstick?
I might be, Mother.
Huh. Well, what's
She
going
licks her thumb
on?
and starts to rub the smudge off of his chin.
Yes. Well, what's going on? I just went out to the garden to pick some roses.
Mother, last night, the bush, my limp, her hair, I found it! And this morning, the trousers and the teapot. I'm watching you, Exie, but it's yellow. It's always yellow. I'm dying.
What?
I know it's unbelievable. I haven't quite come to grips with it myself yet. I wanted to tell you this earlier, but I didn't know what to say.
What exactly are you dying of?
Malaria.
Malaria?
I know, Mother. Shocking.
How on earth would you have gotten that?
It's a long story, but suffice it to say that I was in here last night and I needed something to drink. There's an icebox in the exam room with jars of liquid.
You drank
Pee.
pee? I'll bet your brother had something to do with this. Where is he? Entrance Overhill!
He's in town meeting with Thornby.
Whose pee was it?
It was from a Captain John Agleford, or should I say by now the late Captain Agleford. He was a foreign legionnaire. Quite handsome, I would think. A square jaw, dark eyes, warm smile, maybe, I don't know, a little dimple on the chin. Look, it doesn't matter. The important thing now is that we try to make the best of the 2 to 12 days I have left.
2 to 12 days?
He draws her into his chest dramatically.
Oh, Mother, sweet, sweet, caring Mother, there is so much I want to say, so much I have left to do. But I'm afraid that ship has sailed now. What with the nausea and the headaches and diarrhea.
Have you lost your mind?
Not yet, but I will become delusional and suffer other mental defects before it's over.
Now listen to me. I want you to go into the solarium and open a window. I'm going to set you up with a blanket and a nice cup of tea. Doesn't that sound good?
All right, Mother.
They start toward the solarium, and Eggsy suddenly stops and points back toward the sitting area.
Not that tea. Anything but that tea.
Blackout. Act 2, Scene 3. Same room, same day, mid-afternoon. As the lights come up, Edna, Mabel, and Gertrude are discovered in the sitting area. Victoria is on the telephone at the desk. Edna and Mabel are both wearing Edward's pants. Edna is also wearing one of Edward's suit coats. Gertrude has a robe on over her clothes, the one she wore yesterday. She has her head back with a compress on it and looks quite disheveled.
Gertrude, there's no way to put this delicately, so here it is. You look like something the cat coughed up.
All right. I'll let everyone know. Goodbye.
Well,
Well, what?
aren't those trousers just the bee's knees?
I haven't decided yet.
Oh, Victoria, who was that on the telephone?
Enty, he said that no one should leave before he gets back.
Why?
He wouldn't say.
How did I get up to bed last night?
Last night? We haven't seen you since you went upstairs to pack after the memorial yesterday afternoon. We hoped you'd, that is to say, we thought you'd left.
Oh, well,
Victoria goes to answer it.
I packed and I came downstairs and then I woke up. I'm in bed a little while ago with a horrible headache and it's all really fuzzy. Oh.
Tailpipe stupidity, I told you.
Yes?
Good afternoon, madam. Captain John.
Gertrude looks down at Edna and Mabel's pants.
Am I delusional or are you two wearing trousers?
Why, yes. Won't you come in?
Thank you.
The captain steps into the room. He is a handsome-looking man in a military uniform. They all stare at him. He smiles uncomfortably.
Well,
If he's here about the chauffeur position, he will have to provide his recommendations.
This gentleman is looking for Edward.
Edward? Well, he's not here.
I should think not.
We're the doctor's sisters. This is Mrs. Snodgrass and
Hello.
Mrs. Meadows Edge and Mrs. Thornbush. And I am Mrs. Overhill.
pleasure, I'm sure.
So why would Edward be here? Wherever would we keep him?
Keep him. I'm afraid I don't understand.
The doctor passed away last week.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's quite all right.
Eggsy enters the study from the solarium, coughing and hunched over.
His death wasn't your fault.
You see, I had an appointment for today, and...
Exit?
Yes, quite right. I should probably be going.
Exit. There's someone here who might be of interest to you.
Mother, you know I'm not up to meeting anyone today.
Oh, what's the problem? What's his problem?
He's dying.
Oh.
Exit? Come here this instant.
Eggsy drags himself over.
This is my son, Exit. Exy, this is Mr. Agleford.
Captain Engleford.
Captain John Agleford?
Yes, have we met?
Captain John Agleford of the United States Air Corps?
Yes.
Captain, perhaps you should sit down.
She guides the captain to a seat on the sofa between Edna and Gertrude.
I very much like the uniform. You may keep that if I bring you on.
The captain looks down at the pants Edna and Mabel are wearing, then turns to Gertrude.
Are they wearing
Oh, so you're a... What are you?
a flyer?
A friar? You mean like a monk?
Where's your robe?
I refuse to hire a monk as my chauffeur.
Not a friar, a flyer.
Eggsy picks up a cigarette case from the table.
Cigarette, Captain?
No, I don't smoke.
You will.
Eggsy lights 2 cigarettes, then moves back of the sofa, behind the captain.
Maybe he's a funny friar. You know, one of those comedians on the radio.
Most of those friars are Jewish. Are you Jewish, Commander?
Colonel.
Corporal.
Captain. No, I'm not Jewish. I'm Irish.
Eggsy lowers one of the cigarettes down in front of him. The captain takes it and starts puffing away. Eggsy massages the captain's shoulders, and he doesn't seem to notice.
Well, that's odd. The Irish aren't funny, and your name sounds very Jewish. Audusenberg?
Abu Ghadi.
Abu Shabi.
Agleford, I think.
captain puffs on the cigarette and begins to drift into an ant-induced stupor.
The important thing is that you can drive, of course. There will be a customary probationary period.
Eggsy moves back around to the side of the sofa. The captain appears entranced.
Yes, I can drive, but wait. How do you know it's me?
You're not sweating or nauseated?
No, of course not.
You don't seem to have a fever at all.
He doesn't look dead either.
You don't have malaria?
Malaria? Of course not. What? I haven't been sick a day in my life. Whatever gave you that idea?
Well, weren't you in the French Foreign Legion in Africa?
Yes.
The French Foreign Legion in Africa? Oh, good God, no.
Well, so what was the FFL on your form?
FFL on my form? Oh, you must mean the Fraternal Friars League. How do you know about that?
Well, then why did you come to see Uncle Edward?
To get an examination, to renew my pilot's certificates. Not that that's any of your business.
Forgive him, Captain. He feels a very special bond with you.
Yes, almost as if you're a part of him.
And why would that be?
Drank your urine.
What?
Oh, the Fraternal Flyers League.
Yes, that's right.
What disease does that organization have, Flyboy?
Diseases?
A league. Is that like a club?
I suppose, in a way.
Perhaps you have a club foot then.
Club foot. This is a nightmare. That's what it is. Actually, how do you know who I am? Where did you get the idea that I had malaria? And why the hell did you drink my piss?
To cure his polio.
To cure his polio? This is infuriating.
Agreed, Commandant. I'm incensed. Why did you let me sleep through all this, all the good parts?
Drinking your piddle was a mistake.
A mistake? Whose piddle did you think you were drinking?
Captain, you look pale. Please sit down and drink something.
Captain sits back down and Edna gives him a cup of tea. He takes a sip as...
We're back.
Enty bursts into the room excitedly with Tess and Formby right behind.
It's 2 o'clock. Why aren't you dressed? And what on earth are you two wearing? And who is this?
Commander Clubfoot.
Captain, this is my other son, Entrance, and his lovely wife, Tess.
Uh-huh.
Excuse me, Enty. This is Captain Agleford. He is a patient of Uncle Edward's and had an appointment this afternoon.
He won't be here. He's dead, you know.
Yeah, huh?
Wait, are you Captain John Agleford?
How do you know me? Did you drink my urine too?
Of course not. Is there anything wrong with you?
Yeah, I think I'm losing my mind.
The captain raises the cup to his mouth again and notices the golden color.
Great Caesar's ghost! What the hell am I drinking? Is it urine? Have I been drinking urine? Do all of you drink urine? Is it served from teapots with cookies by oddly dressed old ladies? Where am I? What is wrong with you people? I have to leave now. I came here for the results of my examination, but instead I find that the doctor is dead, and this fellow drank my pee. Maybe you all did.
The captain moves to the door, rambling.
Then I drank piddle out of a teacup, and no one seems to care. That's wrong, right? I mean, I got over 10 medals for shooting Jerry's out of the sky over Europe, and I don't think I should ever get behind the controls of an airplane again.
Did I look like that 2 days ago?
Sadly, yes.
That poor, poor man. Someone should...
The captain stops, turns back to the group.
Tell me, what was the cause of Dr. Boondaggle's death?
He consumed something that didn't agree with him.
Uh-huh.
The captain turns to leave.
Captain?
I'll see myself out.
Captain moves toward the solarium door.
Can't let him leave like that. Enty,
But your hat.
You can keep it. I won't need a hat where I'm going.
The captain exits into the solarium, thinking it's the way out. He looks confused for a moment, then glances back at the study and sees that all are staring at him. He decides to exit through a window.
Victoria, I thought Edward's heart gave out.
It did. They found him hunched over his desk with a book in one hand and that fishbowl in the other.
But it was fun keeping the captain guessing, wasn't it?
Oh, yes. You know it was.
fun. No. No. It wasn't right to let the captain go like that, was it? Someone should go after him, and please help.
Well, I guess I'm all right after all. Whew! That's a relief.
Only for you. Now, if I can get everyone's attention, I have something from Edward that concerns us all.
Wait.
Actually, Entrance, I need to speak with you.
Wait a minute. Wait 1 minute. Did I hear you right? Did you just say that what you did to the captain was fun? Was it fun to horrify me as well? I didn't see that poor man when he came in, but he was a blithering idiot when he left, and to you, that was fun.
Well, yes. Not as much fun as a day at Coney Island, but we're old now. It's all we have.
And you thought you were at death's door since last night, and when you found out you weren't, you acted as though you'd just gotten over a head cold.
Darling, I told you, he's a hypochondriac. He thinks he's dying at least once a year. Tess, why don't you...
Your uncle has pet bats in his attic.
Ha! I knew it.
You knew it? I've only been around you people for 3 days, but in that time I've been threatened, insulted, slapped, accused of stealing, murder, and espionage, and I was an accessory to the whole Piddle incident. There is something very wrong with this family.
No, Tess.
Don't now test me. You let Tess 2 out of her cage, so you're going to stand there and take it. I have stood by silently for 3 days, and I've had enough.
You keep another Tess in a cage?
Yesterday, you caked makeup on your brother and dressed him like a tart.
Actually, to clarify, Enty was doing an awful job, so I did the makeup, and I thought it was very tasteful. In fact,
Enty, we need to speak privately.
Not now, Thornby.
It wasn't enough that you knocked Gertie unconscious and you had to carry her upstairs.
That was not my fault.
That's how I got up to bed?
But then you made your brother scrape Mrs. Snodgrass's feet and gave him a jar of piddle as a reward.
Your Esmeralda?
You scraped her feet?
It was horrible. Last night I dreamt I was being chased by an angry mob of bunions.
Oh, Esmeralda, you did a marvelous job. Entrance, you really could have sprung for a better reward. This top shelf urine is at the very least.
Entrance, we have to talk now.
Are you dense, man? We're in the middle of something here.
I remember now. You had a floozy in the exam room, and I was going to throw her out. That's why you cold-cocked me.
It wasn't just any floozy. It was exit, and I didn't cold cock you. You were going into the exam room as he was coming out, and he hit you with the door.
I had no idea she was there.
Tess, it was all part of the plan, remember?
Yes, of course. The plan. The secret plan. How could I have forgotten my part in the secret plan? Oh, I'm sorry, Aunt Mabel. There may be a very special place in the cuckoo's nest just for you, but I hope I never see it.
Tess.
You should put this Tess back in her cage. She's very rude.
Oh, rude. I'm rude. Oh, did I offend someone? Did I cross some line? Forgive me, but I thought that was a boondawgle way. Line up for the next insult. There's plenty to go around. Woo, you want to know the scary part? I enjoyed the whole thing.
Enough! Entrance, this has gone too far. Enough.
Oh, for God's sake, what's gone far enough?
We have to talk in private. Now.
No, you're right, Formby. This has gone far enough. Anything you have to say to me, you can say to the whole family. No more secrets.
You had to find it, didn't you?
Find what? The letter? And I was instructed to find it.
But I didn't think there was a ghost of a chance that you actually would. It should all belong to that goldfish now.
What does any of this have to do with the goldfish?
I don't like fish.
Neither do I. They're always looking at me.
I don't trust any creature that doesn't blink. I had a gardener once who didn't blink, so I fired him.
Oh, you never had a gardener, you hoity-toity battle axe.
Then again, I didn't think you all would last the week together in this house without killing each other.
And in that case, of course, the goldfish would win again.
That's right.
Let me guess. There never was a goldfish society until you set it up for yourself, was there? Tell me, Formby, how did you get him to write that letter?
Oh, the silly letter was his idea, as was everything in it. When I found out that this ridiculous society didn't exist, I saw an opportunity to, let's say, expand my portfolio.
And Edward never caught on to your little scheme, so you were willing to play out this whole charade because you had changed your copy of the will and you were sure we wouldn't find the second letter. After we've gone, you could have scoured the house for it. Why does this letter matter to you?
Because it should contain the last pieces to this puzzle, the location of his bank and key to his safe deposit box.
And the safe deposit box has his actual will, which leaves his estate to the family unconditionally. Couldn't let that get out, could you? Well, Formby, it looks like you're out of luck and your days of practicing law are over too.
That tears it. He may be the executor of this estate, but he's not the only man in this house, and I have a right to know what's going on now. I demand to be included.
All right, exit. If you really want to be included,
He pulls out a gun.
get that letter from your brother and give it to me.
They all react to that gun.
No, a gun? Enty's in charge. He's in charge.
Eggsy rushes to the other side of the room near Tess.
Really, Formby? A gun?
Crude but effective as a last resort. I told you that we should speak privately, but you refused. Now you've involved everyone.
Everyone was already involved. So what now? Are you planning to shoot all of us? Did you murder Edward too?
Murder Edward? No, nature took care of that, but I was prepared to take matters into my own hands if I needed to.
He's the plotter.
You're not really going to shoot us, Abner?
No, Mother, he's not going to shoot anyone.
Don't be so sure, Entrance. Now give me that letter and the other one too.
Well, I have no idea what this is about, but if he's going to shoot us, then I'm going upstairs to change. I have a special outfit that I would like to be caught dead in.
Sit down, you pompous bag of hot air, or I'll start with you.
Oh, now you listen to me, you little weasel. No one calls my sister a pompous bag of hot air but me.
Thank you, Gertrude.
You would never have gotten the assets anyway, Formby. I would have fought your little scam in court and won.
Not likely. With Edward's letter and my copy of the will as proof, you wouldn't have gotten far and you would never have known that I was behind it. It's far easier than you might think for a smart lawyer to poach an estate.
You're not that smart, Formby. If you pull that trigger, the authorities will trace it all right back to you.
I doubt that. They'll have a prime suspect that will leave me free and clear.
And who might that be?
The person in this family with a well-documented history of erratic behavior and psychological instability.
Enty looks at everyone.
You'll have to be more specific.
I'm going to pin this on Mabel.
Edward trusted you, Abner.
And that was his big mistake, Victoria.
Chirp, chirp, chirp. waddle, waddle, waddle.
No, no, Mabel, not now.
Mabel stands up, begins to drift toward Thornby as she continues to sing seemingly in her own little world.
Go with the flow and a quack, quack, quack.
On the last quack, Mabel looks up and winks at Tess. Tess smiles and winks back.
Right on cue, Entrance. You couldn't have written this any better.
Mabel continues humming and Tess joins in, slowly moving toward Thornby. When she stops, she and Mabel are on each side of Thornby.
Tess, what are you doing? Darling, come here.
Well, it only took 3 days to drive the newest member of the Boondawgle family completely mad.
Ready?
Ready.
Chirp, 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 waddle, waddle, waddle. Go with the flow and a quack, quack, quack.
On the last quack, they complete their turn and each elbow Thornby under his chin. His head jerks back, and as it comes forward, Gertrude throws a cup of tea in his face. He raises his hands to his cheeks and drops the gun. Edna picks it up and points it at Thornby.
All right, Flimsy. Don't try anything funny. We've got the drop on you.
Thornby wipes his face as Victoria charges over.
This is for Edward.
She punches him in the nose and he collapses into a chair.
No one points a gun at my family.
What just happened here?
The Boondawgle women just saved our bacon. I'll take the gun, Edna.
Are you sure? I had him covered, you know.
Oh, I do know. You were all spectacular.
Yes, hug and congratulate each other.
Mabel, you were awesome.
You surprised me, Exit. Exit, you surprised me. The way you confronted Thornby, I didn't know you had it in you.
Neither did I. But a minute later, I completely crumbled.
While staring down the barrel of a gun, perfectly understandable. Should have seen it coming. How could I have missed it?
How could anyone have seen that coming? I'm not sure what's going on, but I do know that Thornby is a crooked man with a crooked plan who messed with the wrong sisters.
You're right. Listen, Exit, I owe you an apology.
For what?
For being a jackass for the last, well, counting today, 30 years. I've always expected you to be who I thought you should be and never accepted you for who you are. That's wrong. I'm sorry about that and the whole piddle thing.
Yeah, and don't forget about the feet. No, what the hell? There's nothing like a near-death experience to pull a family together.
He shakes Enty's hand.
Quite true.
I should find something to tie him up.
Eggsy goes into the exam room. Enty turns to Tess, who is standing alone.
You know, darling, that was a crazy thing you did.
I thought that being crazy was a prerequisite for being a part of this family.
Well, young lady, I have something to say to you. Today, you are a Boondawgle. Welcome to the family, Tess.
Yes, child. You may call me Aunt Edna from now on.
You look a lot more like Uncle Edna.
The song was a brilliant ploy, Aunt Mrs. I'm so very sorry.
You know, my dear, you never finished telling me about your honeymoon. Where was it again?
Niagara Falls?
Niagara Falls!
Everyone freezes. Mabel stares at Tess.
That's right. Niagara Falls. It must have been lovely.
She hugs Tess. Eggsy comes back into the study with a length of rope and starts tying Thornby to a chair. Victoria moves to Tess.
Thank you, dear.
She smiles and hugs Tess.
Entrance Overhill? I don't know what's going on here, but you had better start explaining yourself, Toot Sweet.
Explain all this? We came to bid Edward a fond farewell, but instead it's been 3 days of secrets, misdirection, and piddle tea. I also have learned some rather unsettling things about my uncle that I'll never be able to unlearn, and it seems we came within a heartbeat of the whole estate going up to that smarmy little snake. How's that for an explanation?
Not nearly as entertaining as Exit's Clay Tortoise story.
Exit's what story?
Clay Tortoise. It's part of a woman's privates, Gertrude. I wouldn't expect you to understand.
Entrance? Where is that gun?
Listen here, everyone. The Goldfish Society was a ruse. Edward was trying to keep all of us here a little longer to see if we could get along without his help. That was very important to him, and now I understand why. Anyway, this is the letter he wanted me to read to you. My dearest family, if Enty is reading this letter, it means I'm no longer of this world. I did not have the opportunity to say goodbye in person, so I have chosen to do it in writing. That said, I have something to say to each of you. Victoria, like a butterfly you were born to flutter by, but you don't have to stop fluttering, but you do have to stop fluttering once in a while and be still.
All right, Edward.
Edna, dear, pretentious Edna, everyone deserves an introduction, most especially the help. Try to remember that.
I'll try, Edward.
My sweet Mabel, light as a feather and stormy as the weather, you'll have to work hard to make the other Mabel go away forever. She is very unpleasant and she frightens people. You know who I mean.
I do? Oh, yes, I do. And I will, Edward.
Gertie, little miss, I can do it all by myself. Accept help once in a while. You need it. Also, do try to be more kind.
Gertrude sits silently.
Gertrude, sometimes you can be an absolute...
Fine, Edward, fine.
As for my nephews, Enty, start writing again. It is long past time for your voice to be heard. I intend to, Uncle Edward. And Exit. You are as healthy as a horse. There has never been anything wrong with you that could not be cured by the love of a good woman or a good man.
Very well, Edward.
Exit.
Exit looks up and notices everyone staring at him.
Keep reading.
Oh. Well, it appears my rounds are complete. It is now time to close the book and send it off to press, as they say in the publishing business. I will leave you with one final wish. For heaven's sake, stop bickering. Celebrate your differences. If you stick together, you can rise above anything. You are boondaggles, after all. Oh, and Tess, if perchance the past 3 days did not pull this pig-headed brood together, then run. Run away as fast as you can and never look back. I love them dearly, but in my medical opinion, they're all bats.
Edward!
Edward!
Always and forever, Edward.
Oh, very touching. But the letter mentioned nothing about the location of the bank or the key.
I'm afraid he's right.
Not necessarily. Time to close the book and send it off to the press. I think that was a clue meant for me. Mother, you said they found Uncle Edward at his desk with a book?
Eggsy goes to the desk and picks up a book.
Yes, he had that book in one hand and the fishbowl in the other. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking I might know where the safe deposit box is. America's first national banks.
But there has to be over 200 banks in that book.
Yes, but it was published by Albany Press, and there is only one First National Bank of Albany.
Nice catch, little brother. Wait, the limerick. While the goldfish you see could well be the key, a blind eye could mean your demise. It would seem that Edward didn't trust you or your failing eyesight after all, Thornby.
He reaches down into the fishbowl, brushes back the gravel, and picks up a key.
The safe deposit box key.
I would have figured that out eventually.
Oh,
shut up,
Hornby.
Enty, What will happen to this lovely old house?
It just so happens that I know a doctor with a very large family who needs a place to live. Coincidentally, this place comes with a built-in medical practice. And you, my little keeper of the key, are coming home with us. I don't know what your name is, but...
Why don't you call him Edward?
All right, but he'll need a mustache.
No, he can have mine.
Eggsy's entire body quivers at the thought.
But what about the rest of the estate entrance?
The Boondawgle estate? Well, that's another story altogether. The war to end all wars had just fired its
The lights
last
begin to
bloody
fade.
shot when one Edward James Boondawgle, MD, decided to hang out his shingle in a little town in upstate New York called Whitfield. Before long, he began dabbing in the stock market, and in a very short time, he had accumulated over $1 million.
Wait a minute. Stop right there.
The lights come back up. Victoria fanning Edna's face. Everyone else is frozen in a stunned stare.
Oh, my.
What, Edward? What was worth how much?
Edna's head rolls around and then tips back as
Oh, my.
she passes out. Blackout. End of play.
Thank you, everybody. Yay. Good job, cast. Good job.
Fun.
Very, very fun. Thank you, everybody, for a wonderful job. The show will stay up on our Facebook page, or you can view it on YouTube. Thank you for your continued support. Next Tuesday, we will present another original play called The Current by Sean Peverenti. Thank you very much for watching, and see you next week.